Hey guys, Animarchy here, and guess what? This video is sponsored by World of Warships. That's right guys, the folks over at WarGaming asked me, hey, do you want to make a video about our game in your style, teaching history while posting gratuitous waifus? To which I replied, oh, you mean that game I already play for fun on my own time anyway? Absolutely. The game is free to play, has massive PvP arenas with 12v12 battles, and the number of ships you can play is borderline ridiculous, and for new players who download the game, WarGaming has got a fantastic offer for you. All you need to do is register the game through the link in the description with the code PC Battle for PC players and Console Battle for console players. That's right, you can take this offer on either PC or console. You get a starter pack containing 7 days premium account, 20 Hunter Camouflages, 3 premium ships, Charleston, Mikasa, and Aurora, for free. This is a nuts offer. So register and download it for free. Do it, boys. You know you want to. Now, on to the video. World of Warships. A game I have played so much and spent lots of my own money on. It was inevitable that this was going to happen eventually. In fact, I should say, some of these ships in this video are ones I bought myself. So when WarGaming asked me to make this, it wasn't hard for me to pick the ships I wanted to talk about. And first on the list is this beautiful ship. Oh, baby. Just look at you. Now, aside from her lovely Azure Lane model, I mean, look at her, just wow. I love Hornet for a number of reasons. A Tier 8 premium aircraft carrier with a short but very eventful story. She looks considerably different from her big sister Enterprise, having undergone a lot of improvements and tweaks in between the two ships, but it's what she did with those improvements that make her special. After Pearl Harbor, the United States was thrown for a loop. America had been attacked, and there was no way they could really hit back. Sailing their carriers too close to Japan would lose the only capital ships the US Navy had available. It was then they had an absolutely insane idea. What if we launched long-range medium bombers off a carrier and bombed Tokyo, landing in China?
Honest to God, the Doolittle raid has got to be, like, the biggest piece of psychological warfare. Like...
But actually, so there is one aspect to it that, you know, was tactically advantaged, that it kept the Japanese aircraft home. They had to leave aircraft at the home side, and they hit an aircraft carrier.
That's right. It was Ryuho was in dock, like under construction.
Autopilot mode enabled.
And the
refit. They nailed it.
I love the fact that the B-25s were like, okay, you're gonna hit this munitions factory. And they're like, oh, hang on a minute. No, wait. That looks like a better target. Are you shooting at me? Oh my god, you are shooting at me. Oh no.
Do any of you boys see an aircraft carrier around here?
They see me. Ow. Ow. Oh, I'm going to launch my SBDs.
You should probably turn around.
Yeah, I'm going to turn around. I'm not going to go this way. No, but that's the weirdest thing about the Doolittle raid is it's such an insane idea. Doolittle was out of his mind.
One way, baby. It's all it needs. One way.
As long as we make it to China, it's fine. But
and also, this is how the Essex class carrier Shangri-La got her name.
Yeah. Where did the bombers come from, Shangri-La? That glorious Azure Lane, Iowa. Look at it. It's beautiful.
Love it.
So I'm doing primary carrier gameplay right now. I'm going to go find all the enemy. Although they're already shooting at me, which is not great.
Oh no! The boy can't remember how to lead shots, apparently.
The crazy thing about the Doolittle raid, though, is the idea of taking a medium twin-engine bomber off a carrier, especially a Yorktown carrier, because despite how cool they are, the Yorktown carrier isn't exactly long. Like, Hornet isn't exactly long by carrier standards. Ah! American AA! No! No! In case anyone was wondering, American battleships take pride in their Second Amendment rights, and I'm not going anywhere near them. Forget it. I can't even get to them. I think he's got a cruiser with him, yeah. It's really hard to get an attack on with escorts nearby, but we're gonna try. But yeah, after Pearl Harbor, they needed to work out a way to hit back to raise morale and put the wind up the Japanese, so they decided to launch B-25s off an aircraft carrier. But the upshot of that is, in World of Warships, it allows me to do this. Yeah.
Just smack that Minnesota.
Oh.
Come on, let me use my anti-aircraft guns. Please let me use my anti-aircraft guns. I have all of them.
The North American V-25 is one of the most beautiful airplanes I've ever seen. Like, it's just...
It is a beautiful airplane.
I mean, you've flown one. You tell me. Do they handle as well as they look? Really?
A lot. They handle better than they look. It's a dream to fly. Like an actual dream to fly.
Remember to support your local museum, folks. But the idea that they took these things off a carrier, like, it got so bad they had to strip, like, wood. They had to, like, strip everything out of it. They stripped everything out of it.
Anything that wasn't necessary gets pulled out. Extra armor gets pulled out. Then they added fuel tanks, a lot of fuel tanks, because you need it.
The only guns they had, I'm going to switch to torpedo planes here because it's a better idea. The only guns they actually had were like the top turret guns, because they were on a turret, so it was more coverage overall.
Reporting the target position.
And realistically speaking, the B-25s, they stuck broom handles out the back. They stuck broom handles out the back to fool the Japanese into thinking that their rear guns were still in place. Also, they removed the bomb sight because it was really heavy. And they realized that seeing as they're going to be going in at like 0 feet, they created this sort of angular bomb sight similar to the one that the dam busters used. I'll put a picture up of it, which is literally like 10 cents. And they stuck it in the front of the bomber. And like, when that thing gets there, just yeet the bombs and see what happens. And they were amazingly accurate too. I just want to point out.
They hit an aircraft carrier.
Like, it was rather incredible. I just remember that line in Michael Bay's totally accurate and definitely not embellished movie. Although in fairness, Michael Bay actually did get a lot of the details right, and former training carrier USS Lexington starred as the Hornet, actually.
Yes, she did.
In that.
She did.
But like, they're like, hey, so how are we gonna land on the aircraft carrier? You don't. You land in China. Look, I understand they did that for effect and for comic relief. In reality, the pilots would have looked at this and gone, we can get off. There ain't no way we're getting back down. Oh, we got a battleship. He's all on his own out here.
Destination reached. Autopilot mode disabled.
Shot down on the squadron.
We're going in, fellas. We're going in.
The enemy team has taken the lead.
Torpedoes away. And come on, baby. Come on, baby. Oh, yeah. There we go.
Enemy battleship sunk.
Chalk one up for Hornet. Now, in reality, I would need to be going at least, you know, three quarters of a head, like full ahead or flank speed. But the great thing about World of Warships, the thing about World of Warships is my aircraft defy physics, so I can do this. Again, there's no way a B-25 would get off that deck unless we're going flank speed off the deck.
Well, they launched the B-25s off of Lexington when she was stationed in the movie.
I mean, come on, the Essex carrier is a lot longer. And they had to wait for wind over the bow. That's kind of cheating. And... oh, baby. Ooh, look at that hit. Oh.
As you can see, they do a lot of damage. But not as much damage as our next ship. Behold, the USS Salmon, a normal American Tier 8 submarine. Now, one of the least known facts about World War II naval history is that despite all the cool movies and crazy stories you hear about German U-boats, the German submariners weren't actually the best in the war. They were just the most famous, as they were the only real Axis naval threat in the European theater. The US Navy submarine campaign in Japan, by contrast, is an incredible feat of arms, the likes of which I don't think we will ever see again. I'm just going to put their statistics on screen. Have a look at this. The US submarine campaign in the Pacific was absolutely ridiculous, and they also hold the record of sinking the largest ship ever sunk by a submarine, the Japanese aircraft carrier Shinano, which is, just so you're aware, a carrier-converted Yamato-class battleship. But that isn't their craziest story. This is the USS Barb, and she was a Gato-class submarine, the long-range sub developed from this here Salmon class. She had an absolutely incredible career, sinking a total of 17 vessels, including a Japanese aircraft carrier, the Unyo. However, if you look at her battle flag, you'll notice something weird alongside her naval victories. That is, in fact, the outline of a train. Well, here is where it gets crazy. The USS Barb had an absolute bunch of mad lads on board, so much so that they had rigged up shore bombardment rockets on their submarine just so they could shoot at Japanese troops on islands when they ran out of torpedoes to sink ships. Or Japanese ships to sink, depending on which came first. Given the circumstances, that's a legitimate concern. One day, though, they took it to the extreme. They sailed around the north of Japan, bombarding towns on Hokkaido and South Sakhalin. It was then they came across the sleepy seaside village, acting as a railway hub for the Japanese army. Seeing this, they hatched a plot. Ships usually keep explosives on board called scuttling charges in case they need to rig their own ship to sink to prevent it from falling into enemy hands. What if they rigged up this scuttling charge to explode when a train ran over the bridge? And so the USS Barb surfaced and began blowing the hell out of the town of Kaihyo, while the demolition team made their way ashore in the chaos, successfully planting the charge before returning aboard. Sure enough, when they got back, they watched a train roll right over the bridge and trigger the explosive, destroying the bridge and the train along with it. The USS Barb's crew are, because of this mission, the only Allied soldiers to carry out ground warfare operations in the Japanese home islands throughout the entirety of World War II. And in World of Warships, the submarines are, well, as you can see on screen, just as lethal and just as badass. However, as we know, the submarine has a mortal enemy. And they also form the pillar of some of the most fun gameplay in World of Warships, especially at low tiers. Destroyers. And I'm going to be taking out my favorite destroyer in the game, presenting the wonderful HMS Campbelltown, a premium tier 3 destroyer. Now, I know what you may be thinking. The Campbelltown has terrible guns, and yes, that is true. However, it has insane torpedoes and goes 35 knots while being able to turn on a dime. But her performance in-game is not the fun part about this ship. You see, when talking about destroyers, your focus is on how good their torpedoes are generally, because torpedoes are the most powerful weapon against large ships in this game. But the British had a better idea. Why create a ship to launch torpedoes? What if your ship is a torpedo? For you see, as the Battle of the Atlantic raged on, the Allies had a problem. The German surface fleet, besides being small, was filled with fast, heavily armed commerce raiders, the biggest ones being full-size battleships. After various battles throughout the war, many of them were in French ports, taking up valuable dry dock space. However, several German heavy warships were still alive and hiding in Norway, and could at any time sneak out into the Atlantic to sink supply ships, keeping Britain alive. But Bismarck had been sunk, which proved that any damage taken in the Atlantic means that having to run away to France to survive. And that's a problem. Because all the dry docks were full, there was only one dry dock left that was big enough to house German capital ships. And so, to keep the Germans in Norway, the Brits had to blow it up. So they summoned the commandos. But they couldn't carry enough explosives to do the jobs themselves. It's then they thought, instead of bringing the explosives along and blowing up the dry dock, what if we rode in to the dry dock? Perhaps we could fill a ship with explosives and ram it into the dry dock. Enter HMS Campbelltown.
Where is that beautiful boat? Where is that beautiful ship?
Right behind you.
There she is, HMS Dreadnought. Look at her.
Action stations.
But have a look at this former US destroyer, now in Royal Navy service, the HMS Campbelltown. She's speedy.
Good luck, everyone.
Hey,
Let's give them a hard time.
hey, Scott.
Yeah. Ship is underway.
Hayes Grand underway, boys. Let's go. Underway? What's underway? Underway. Woy is a town in Australia. Woy is an actual place. No,
I thought that was a phone company.
That's a Chinese phone company. And so they modified this ship here. It didn't look like it. It didn't look like it did on the mission, but they modified this ship here to look like a German destroyer, and then snuck it right past the German shore batteries and German guards, and crashed it into the dry dock gate with a huge amount of explosives in the front of it, and then dropped the prototype of Special Forces today, Commandos, and what would eventually become the SAS. They dropped them all off, although they were being formed in North Africa at the time, but, you know, Special Operations Command, that whole group. They dropped them off, they blow up everything in town, and then try to get away on speedboats. Of course, this was a dumb plan, and almost none of them got away. But they did manage to get the boat on the dry dock. And, well... kaboom.
The enemy team has taken the lead.
Oh my god.
Hello, Belafron.
The enemy is about to win.
Oh boy. Alright, fellas. Oh no.
Smoke generator started. Torpedoes astern.
Oh! Torpedo hitting the cruiser!
Torpedoes to port. Torpedoes to port.
Oh, I got killed.
The enemy is about
We're
to
still
win.
rocking here. Somehow.
I don't know how I didn't destroy the Kolberg here, but I just got split in half by a couple of bots. Oh. Oh. I hit an island. That was not very cash money of me. That was a very bad idea. If there was a dry dock on that island that needed destroying, I would have had it under control, but there wasn't. It was just a rock, and I didn't have the retrofit with all the explosives in the front, so I didn't.
Oh yeah.
Get him, Scotty, get him.
Alright, we gotta wait till we don't have a bad angle. And so now, I guess.
Look at her, the world's first true modern battleship. Just, she's magnificent. Look at her. Look at her. Absolutely joyous to behold. Complete with World War I Dazzle Camouflage, no less.
Gotta love it.
Oh, magazine detonation. Kablam. Bogota. Russian cruiser Bogota. Oh boy. Dreadnought. Doing a hard left turn. Come on, baby.
These are gonna overpin.
And HMS Hood from Angel Lane is the captain of your ship, is she not?
Indeed, she is.
Best girl at the helm. I believe. I believe. Oh no! No! No!
You're gonna need a little bit more than believe right now.
Oh
The
no!
enemy is about to win.
My waifu just got exploded. Well, that's not the first time for Hood, is it?
No, probably a bad omen to put Hood as the captain.
The Commandos and their destroyer succeeded brilliantly. The question remains, though, who was the reason Campbelltown needed to go on that insane suicide mission to blow up that dry dock? Well, that is because of this beautiful lady right here. The Lonely Queen of the North. KMS Tirpitz had an unfortunate history, as due to the Campbelltown shenanigans and the unfortunate fate of her sister, she was forced to spend most of her time sitting in a Norwegian fjord getting bomber harassed. Literally. That's it. Besides that one time when she got to sail out and shell an island belonging to some very scared Norwegians, she basically did nothing for the entire war. But, thanks to World of Warships, she can live a much more exciting life. Plus, she's a battleship with torpedoes. What more can you want?
The one thing I love about Tirpitz is she's thick. German battleships be #wide. Like, look at the beam on this ship. It's actually wild.
Action stations.
Oh, guys, is that a cleave, bro? It is. She even has the Eagle Union flag flying. Outstanding. Look at that turn radius for Tirpitz. Just, oh. The Bismarck class has such good rudder authority when it works and it's not taken out by a torpedo plane. Oh boy, that's a Nagato.
All stations, reporting the position of a strategic target. Concentrate fire on the designated target.
Oh boy.
Enemy cruiser detected.
Ship is on fire.
Oh, yeah. That should kill him. Yep.
Enemy battleship foundered.
One-chan! One-chan! Oh no! One-chan!
Please, torpedoes to starboard.
I avoid getting big sisted, I avoid getting Bismarcked. Only just. Oh lord. Oh no. You killed Scott. How dare you kill my friend, Bismarck? I will destroy you. Non-pen. Oh god. I'm gonna hit a Margie. I'm sorry, buddy. I'm sorry. Oh! Oh, trading pain. Oh! That's fine. Everything's fine. That'll buff.
Use your horn. That's what it's for.
Victory! Victory and glory.
You know what? This has got to be the only major dub the Kriegsmarine ever got. That is an appropriate point to end the video. Special thanks to WarGaming and World of Warships for sponsoring this video. Remember guys, new players who download the game get to take advantage of that special offer. All you need to do is register the game through the link in the description with the code PCBattle for PC players or Console Battle for console players. And you get a starter pack containing 7 days premium account, 20 Hunter Camouflages, 3 premium ships, Charleston, Mikasa, and Aurora, and all of that is for free. It's absolutely wild. Anyway guys, thanks for watching and I'll see you on the next video.
So repeat it if we want you again. So